श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। We are in the Brahmananda Valli, 6th Anuvaka of Taittiriya Upanishad, Shankara Bhashya. Actually, we are in a wonderful discussion about a very important point of the Upanishadic statement that Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. So this is a very pertinent question. If everything is Brahman, then how can the Brahman enter into something? So the entering, so in order to enter something, the entering agent should be limited. But here the Brahman is unlimited. The Brahman is all pervading. So it is already there. Then how can it enter? This is the question mooted upon. And Shankaracharya has taken the opportunity to discuss all the matters related to this Anupravesha. Anupravesha means having created something, the Brahman entering into that. So in what sense should we understand this kind of entering? This is the problem. Now Shankaracharya discusses these matters and says, actually he intermittently refers to the views of the other schools and rejects them, and very strongly establishes the standpoint of the Advaita Vedanta, that is Kevaladvaita of Shankaracharya. Now, when it is argued that when something is created, like pot or a jar is created from the clay, it is obvious that the clay has permeated into that. That means the pot is nothing but the clay. Similarly, when the world in the form of Akasha, Vayu, Agni, etc. is created from the Brahman, so the Brahman, being the material cause of this universe, is all pervading. So it permeates. You cannot expect the effect different from the cause. This is what the Brahma Sutra in the second Adhyaya discusses. Tad annanyatvam arambhana shabdadibhyaha. This is the sutra there. And bhavecha upalabdheha sattvacha aurasya and asat vyapadeshadit chenna. So these are all the sutras that discuss, but tad ananyatvam is the main point discussed there in the Brahma Sutra. Tad ananyatvam means the effect is not different from its material cause. The universe is an effect, and it has the Brahman for its material cause. So naturally, the world should not be different from the material cause, the Brahman. So it should be the Brahman. This is the idea. And in this sense, the problem is, if Brahman enters into something, does it not become limited? Does it not become something conditioned? Otherwise, it cannot enter. Then the proponent says there should not be any problem of that kind, because Brahman is all pervading. The idea is different. It wants to say that the material cause enters into the effect. In that manner, the effect, that means the world, does not have any existence apart from that of the Brahman. So whatever existence you find in the world is nothing but the existence of the Brahman, because Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda. So it is Sat. In that manner, when it is propounded, the opponent says, Savayamevastu tarhi. He argues, the opponent argues, instead of postulating all this, why don't you just accept the Brahman as having some parts, Savayava. So because it has parts, it can enter into the effect. Savayavatvat mukhe hastapraveshavat. Just the hand is limited, the mouth is also limited in space, so the hand can reach the mouth and get into that also. Similarly, Namarupa karye jivatmana anupravesho yukta eva. So this manner, the Brahman having parts can enter into the effect called the world through the form of the individual soul. So the Brahman enters in the form of this individual soul, Jivatmana. So this way Jivatma will become a part of the Brahman, and these people can quote the Shruti Brahma Sutra Pramana also. Amsho Nana Vyapadeshat Mamaivamshah Jivabhuta Sanatanaha. So all these say that the Jivatma is a part of the Brahman. So it is possible. Now, Shankaracharya says, Iti chet na. This argument is untenable because Ashunya Deshatvat. He says, does the Brahman have any space which is devoid of the Brahman? That means, is there any space that doesn't have the Brahman, or Brahman is not there? Brahman is everywhere. So there cannot be any space at all. Nahi karyatmana parinatasya namarupa karya desha vyatirekena atmashunyah pradeshosti yam pravishe jivatmana. So he says, yeah, if there is some space where there is no Brahma, you can say that the Brahman later enters into that in the form of the individual soul. But Brahman is already there. So whatever is happening, it is happening within the Brahma. Like Markandeya Maharshi in the Yoga Vasishta and in the Mahabharata, Bhagavata also, he gets the vision of the entire world in the stomach of the small child, that is Sri Krishna. At the time of Pralaya, final dissolution of the entire world, Markandeya Maharshi is alone and he sees a boy sleeping on a lotus leaf. And he approaches the boy and asks him. Then the boy opens his mouth and Markandeya Maharshi enters into that and finds his own hermitage, everything within. That means in the stomach of the boy itself, exactly what Yashoda had seen in the mouth of the small kid, that is Sri Krishna. So this is Vishwarupa. Then everything is happening in the Brahman. So how can you expect the Brahman reach somewhere? Because if you say that it reaches somewhere, it means there is a place where there is no Brahman. Then Brahman cannot be Sarva Vyapi. That is the problem. And Karanameva Chet Pravishe Jivatmatvam Jahyat. And if the Brahman is understood as entering the Karya, that is effect, then he will not be Jivatma anymore. Because that Jivatma means consciousness. And the Karya, the world, is insentient, that is lifeless. So how can you expect the Brahman enter into the Karya, that is world, lifeless world, through consciousness, in the form of consciousness? If it enters, then it will automatically become lifeless. Then it will not be consciousness anymore. Yatha ghataha mrutpraveshe ghatatvam jahati. So naturally, whatever enters into something loses its own nature. For example, pot. It is created. It is called as pot. But once you break it and make it into pieces, then there is no more pot. It's only clay. Similarly, anupravishat iti cha shrutehe na karana anupravesho yuktaha karyanantarameva syaditi. So in this manner, Brahma entering into the effect, that is the world, is not tenable. But the Shruti is saying, the Taittiriya Upanishad tells us that Brahman has created the world and has entered into it. So what is this entering? Karyantarameva syad iti chet. If the opponent says that Brahman enters as another effect. No, it is not possible. Tadeva anupravishaditi jivatma rupam karyam nama rupa parinatam karyantarameva apadyata iti chet. Because actually the original Upanishad statement is the Brahman has created and entered into it. It means the world. He created and entered into its creation. So therefore, we should develop the vision that the entire creation is nothing but the God. So this is actually the Upanishadic vision, that it wants to tell us that the entire creation can never be taken as different from the Brahman, because Brahman is the material out of which this is manifested. So we should believe in that. And if it is further argued that Tadeva anupravishatiti jivatma rupam karyam nama rupa parinatam karyantarameva apadyate. So can we argue in this way that the jivatma has modified itself in the form of this world of name and form and has become an effect? Can we say so? Shankaracharya says no, not possible, because virodha, there is a contradiction. Because a pot cannot become another pot. If it is already a product, that is the ultimate state of it. So it cannot further modify into another pot. It stops there. Vyatireka Shruti Virodhacha. And the scripture also tells us that the entire world is different from the Atma. Atma is consciousness and this is unconscious. And Jivasya Namarupa Karya Vyatireka Anuvadinyaha Shrutayaha Viruddhyeran. What they say, Tejo up Anna. That means after creating fire, water, and earth, the Brahman, the supreme consciousness, had entered in the form of the Jiva. So the effect called the water, fire, earth should be different from the soul, because first he created that and in the form of the Jivatma he entered. So in this way, the Jivatma should be of the nature of the Brahman. This is more logical. And he says, if you don't accept it, then the scriptural statement will be contradicted. There will appear a contradiction to the scriptural statement. So finally, if you want to really follow the scripture, follow it completely. Tad apatto moksha asambhavacha. And if Jiva becomes a lifeless object, like the world, then there will not be any moksha, any liberation to the Jiva, because Jiva has forsaken, has given up its true nature. So therefore, Jiva cannot get any moksha at all. And nahi yato muchyamanas tadeva apadyate. And if the individual soul would become the world, so actually individual soul should release itself from the clutches of the world, because the world is mithya and it is the cause of bondage. And all the Shastra tell the Jiva, they actually teach the Jiva or exhort him to come up, raise himself, so that he can be out of the grip of this world, that is Prakriti. And Tatsruštva Tadevanupravishat, if it is taken in the sense of the Jiva becoming the world, matter, then whatever he has been avoiding, the Jiva has become that. Nahi Shrunkhalapattir Baddhasya Taskarade. It's actually like a thief is already in bondage, for example. He is tied with some chains, and again a chain is tied to him. Oh, not required. So in this way, if Jiva becomes matter, then the consciousness nature will forego. In that case, the jiva will get all bondage only and there will not be any liberation. Bhashyantar bhedena parinatamiti chet, it is further argued that can we say that the jiva itself has modified itself internally and externally? Tadeva karanam brahma shariradi adharatvena tadantar jivatmana adheyatvena cha parinatamiti chet. And if you say that it has changed itself internally and externally, then it will be Brahman only. Otherwise, if it is further argued that shariradi adharatvena tad antar jivatma adheyatvena cha parinatam, so the jiva has become the soul of the matter. Can we say so? That means the base, the substratum of the matter. Iti chet, Shankaracharya says, now both these assumptions are not tenable. Bahishtasya pravesha upapattehe. See, if something is outside, it can enter. If it is already inside, then there is no question of entering. Nahi yo yasya antastha sayeva tat pravishta uchyate. If something is already within, you cannot say that it is entering. It's already there. When it is already there, how can you say that it enters? But Shruti has said, then we should understand the word that the Supreme Self has entered into matter should be taken in a different sense, not in the ordinary sense. Bahishtasya anupraveshah syat pravesha shabdarthasya evam drushtatva. So always a thing which is outside can enter inside. Yatha graham kritva pravishat. So simple that a person constructs a house and then enters. So this is graha pravesha. This is possible only when both are limited. Jala suryakadi pratibimbavat pravesha syaditi chet. Then the argument takes a very fine turn. Beautiful discussion now. What is exactly the Brahman entering into its effect, that is matter? Because all effort is to understand the purport of the Upanishadic statement. Now, from all angles, it has been examined. Now, we have come to the point that unless both are limited, a particular object entering into another object is not possible at all. But here the problem is, the Brahman is unlimited. But the Upanishad says the Brahman has entered. If it is unlimited, if it is already there, how can it enter? Then what is the real sense of the word entering? An option is provided here. Can we take in the sense of the Brahman has entered into the world in the form of the jiva? Can we say that it is reflected in that, entering in the sense of reflection? Brahman has entered. That means nothing. Brahman is reflected. Can we say so? For example, like the sun has entered into the water reservoir. How can he enter? Only his reflection is seen in the waters. Now, Shankaracharya finds fallacy in this argument, says this reflection is also not possible because aparichinnatvat amurtatvacha. Why reflection is not possible? Because Brahman is, first thing is aparichinna, like Akasha. How can an unlimited thing be reflected in something? Second, amurtatva, it is not tangible. The Brahman does not have a form, and generally whatever has form is reflected. If it is formless, how can there be any reflection of that? This is the argument. Shankaracharya is saying so. Parichinnasya murtasya anyasya anyatra prasada swabhavake jalado suryakadi pratibimbodaya syat. See, in order to get a reflection, the object should have a form should be limited, and wherever it is getting reflected, that should be pure, like the water. And here the entire world is not pure like the water. Then how can Brahma be reflected? Natu Atmanaha. And not even the reflection of Atma is possible. Amurtatvad Akashadi Karanasya Atmano Vyapakatvad. Because it is Amurta, like the Brahman, the Jiva is also not having any form. It's not some tangible substance. And it is unlimited like the space. Tad Viprakrishta Desha Pratibimba Adhara Vastvantara Abhavacha. And another thing is, there is no such thing which is different, distinct, and farther limited, so that this can be reflected. Such thing is not there. Pratibimbavat praveshaha na yuktaha. So on account of all these reasonings, all these arguments, the Brahman getting reflected in the world in the form of the Jiva is not possible. Evam tarihi. Okay, we have tried all our options. We have put forth all these arguments, but still, if you say that Brahman cannot have any pravesha, anupravesha, then okay, well, we will say that there is no pravesha at all. Na praveshaha. Nacha gatyantaram upalabhamahe. And we don't find any movement in the Brahman. Nava anupravishat iti shrutehe. Tadeva anupravishat iti shrutehe. But the problem is, Shruti is saying, the Upanishadic statement is that the Brahman has entered. Now you have to justify. Justify in the sense, you have to put proper effort to understand how the Brahman has entered. If you are tired and give up your effort and just retire saying the Brahman has not entered, then you have not properly understood the statement of the Upanishad. Your entire effort should be aimed at understanding the sense. If you give up and sit somewhere saying that, sorry, I fail in understanding the Upanishad, okay. But if you say that this much is the sense of the Upanishad because I have understood this much, there is the problem. So, Shruti says, Na naha atindriya vishaye vijnanotpatto nimittam. Shrutischa naha atindriya vishaye vijnanotpatto pramana. That is the nimittam. And especially when there are matters which are beyond our comprehension, normal sensory perception and understanding, then we should entirely rely upon the Shruti, because other than the Shruti, who will tell us whether there is a different world, whether there is heaven or hell, how can we reach there, and after death what happens to the body? We know, seeing the other bodies, we simply say that the body is burnt, reduced to ashes. But what happened to the consciousness? All the while which is actually functioning in the body, which is really working through the body, what happened to that? Where has it gone? And what happened to all the impressions that it has carried, accumulated throughout the life? So there should be an answer. Questions are there, but we cannot give separate independent answers, because we have to follow the Shruti, that is the scripture, Veda, Upanishad, to find answers for all these questions. Nacha asmad vakya yatnavatamopi vijnanam utpadyate. See, from these sentences, even if you make many efforts to understand exactly what and how the supreme energy, the singularity, the single energy had entered into its effect. Hanta tarihi anarthakatvat aposhyam vakyam tat srishtva tadeva anupravishaditi. Oh, alas. The opponent says, okay, if you say that even the most intelligent, in spite of making several efforts in understanding how the Brahman has entered into its effect, cannot understand. If you say so, then alas. Okay, then simply we remove this sentence. We just jump ahead, or we just skip this sentence. Tat sruštva tadeva pravishat. Why should we make effort to understand something which does not yield any sense at all? To this, Shankaracharya says, no. The problem is not with the sentence. The problem is with you, with us. Because the sentence is anyartha. Anyartha means the sentence is giving a different sense, and you have been trying to understand in a different sense. That is the problem. Kimartham asthane charcha is actually, I tell you, that all this discussion, argument is out of place. Asthane charcha, not at all required. Prakruto hi anyo vivakshitah asya vakyasya arthaha asti saha smartavyah. He says, actually, so much of discussion we have made, but we should remember that the paragraph, the passage has begun with a different statement. What the Upanishad wanted to convey to us was initially made clear, an avowed statement that Brahma vidapnoti param. This is actually the crux of the Upanishad. This is actually the pivotal statement. Shankaracharya is more excited on seeing the single statement and says, Sutra bhutam etad vakyam. He is very much excited, says, this sentence has become the sutra of the entire Taittiriya Upanishad. Wow, wonderful statement, he says, because he is totally equipped with the proper spiritual strength to understand that particular sentence and get into the heart of that. And that's why now he says, Are, why do you unnecessarily argue and make discussions? See, don't forget the beginning. There it is said, Brahma vidapnoti param. This is exactly intended meaning. Satyam jnanam anantam Brahma. First thing is, one who realizes Brahma gets the ultimate, that is liberation. Second, the Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. It is existence, reality. It is knowledge. It is unlimited. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. And whoever realizes this Brahman hidden in his heart is beyond all bondage. Iti tad vijnanancha vivakshitam prakritancha tat. So, I would like to remind you that this is actually what the Upanishad intends to teach us. That the Brahman realization is ultimate. The Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and it is hidden in the heart of all beings, not only human. So, this you remember, this is the intention of the Upanishad. And this is relevant, this is proper context. Brahma Swarupa Anugamaya cha Akashadi Annamayantam Karyam Pradarshitam Brahmanugamascha Arabdhaha. See, only to make us realize the true nature of the Brahman, the Upanishad has started with the Annamaya, then Manomaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So through all these kosha, Pancha Kosha, it has landed us in the Brahman. And it said, Brahmapucham Pratishtha. So the Brahman is the base of all these, Annamaya to Anandamaya. Brahman is the base, it said. So why? Why actually this big exposition of this Panchakosha? It is only to make us realize the Brahman from gross to the subtle. That means it actually wants to give us a vision so that from the gross we can get into the subtler levels of our consciousness. So from Annamaya, the gross physical body, we get into the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. These are subtle layers. And finally, we land in the final Brahma. That means we should first think of the Annamaya, Then in the Annamaya, we should get to the Pranamaya, then Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So this is the order. And each one is subtler. That means each latter one is subtler than the previous. And finally, it ends in the Anandamaya. That is Brahma, Anandamayo Bhyasat Ityadi. Tasmat Annamayat Atmanah Anyaha Antaraha Atma Pranamayadi. So this way, subtler, Annamaya, etc. is given. Vijnanamaya, Vijnana. Then Vijnana Guhayam Praveshitaha Tatra Cha Anandamayo Vishishta Atma Pradarshita. So, Tatsruštva Tadevanu Pravishat, Shankaracharya now gets us, catch hold of the main thread. What is that? He says, see, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Tatsruštva Tadevanu Pravishat, the supreme energy has created and entered into the Vijnanamaya in the form of the Anandamaya and remained there. Ataha Paramanandamaya Lingadhigamadvarena Ananda Vivruddhyavasanam Atma Brahma Pucham Pratishtha Sarva Vikalpaspado Nirvikalpaha Asyameva Guhayam Adhigamyata Iti Tat Praveshaha Prakalpyate. A very beautiful exposition of a single sentence of Taittiriya Upanishad. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Anupravesha should be understood in the form of the Brahman entering into the heart, Vijnanamaya, in the form of Anandamaya, and Paramanandamaya Linga, Adhigamadvarena. So, through that particular indication of Anandamaya, we should understand, and Ananda Vivruddhyavasanam, and from Manushyananda to Brahmananda, we raise ourselves and understanding that further we go, then all this Ananda is rooted in the Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is the tail of everything. Tail means here base of everything. Adhara. How? See, Manushya are getting limited Ananda. Gandharva are getting more Ananda. Deva Gandharva are much more. In this manner, you see how much Ananda different beings getting. And finally, the unlimited Ananda Matra is the Brahman. And that Brahman is the thing intended to be conveyed to us through this. So, where is this Sarva Vikalpaspadaha Nirvikalpaha? This Brahman is, of course, the substratum of all Vikalpa, all diversities, but itself is devoid of all diversities. Remember, in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, he says, Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam Sarva Bhruchaiva, Nirgunam Gunabhoktrucha, Bahirantascha Bhutanam, Acharam Charamevacha. So all these, the polarity, it says Brahman is the cause of that, the base of that, but still it is devoid of that. So all the diversities you find in the world are, of course, the effect of the Brahman. But in Brahman, no diversity is found. It is one absolute, single, secondless Brahman. This is the Pravesha. It enters into this Vijnanamaya, the Buddhi. Nahi anyatropalabhyate Brahma nirviseshatvat. And because the Brahman has no adjuncts, no adjectives, no properties, it cannot be found anywhere else. Only in the Buddhi, the Guha, Guham Pravishta Atmano Hitad Darshanat. Brahma Sutra says that it is in our Buddhi, it is in our intellect, in the form of intelligence. Therefore, Jnanam Brahma. Vishesha Sambandhohi Upalabdhi Hetuhu Drushtaha. So when a particular Vishesha is grasped, then automatically we can grasp that particular object. For example, when a particular characteristic of an object is told to us, then we can understand what kind of thing is that. If I tell you that Urdhva Shikha, what is that? You may not tell because you have not heard. But if I tell you that Urdhva Shikha has flame or burning sensation or the burning characteristic for its property, then you will understand Urdhva Shikha means Agni. If I tell you what is Dyumani, immediately you cannot answer. But if I tell you that Dyumani gives light to the entire world, being in the sky, then you tell it is the sun. So this way you understand when a particular characteristic of an object is given to you, you can easily grasp the object. Yadha Rahoho Chandrarka Visishta Sambandhaha. Just as the Rahu is a node in the terms of astrology, and it is related to Chandra and Surya. Chandrarka Visishta Sambandha. Evam. But actually there is no Rahu at all. It is only the passage, the channel. So what happens in a particular while actually making an axis? So when the Earth and the Sun, when actually they come in a particular angle, and in between the Moon comes, we say it is eclipse. Similarly, Earth comes in between, especially 180 degrees. So Earth comes in between the Moon and the Sun. We say it is eclipse. That particular node is known as Rahu, Ketu, etc. There are no graha at all, planets at all. Okay. Now, similarly, evam antahkarana guhatma sambandho brahmanaha upalabdhi hetuhu. So, if you want to really know and realize the Brahman, then the only place of realizing that Brahman is in the buddhi, antahkarana, in yourself. Sannikarshat avabhasatmakatvacha antahkaranasya. But how can antahkarana give you the realization of Brahman? Because it is close to the Brahman, one, and because it draws its energy from the Brahman, the antahkarana also can shine for some time. It can also give us some knowledge of the Brahman. Yathacha aloka visishta ghatadi upalabdhihi. Just as the objects like jar or any chair, table, etc. are known in the light. Similarly, evam buddhi pratyaya aloka visishta atmopalabdhihi syat tasmad upalabdhi hetu guhayam nihitamiti prakritameva. So therefore, realization is also in ourselves, in our internal sense organ. That is antahkarana, buddhi. So all realization takes place in the buddhi. This is what the Sankhya Darshana also says. The buddhi, it actually binds us in 7 forms. How? Dharma, adharma, vairagya, avairagya, aishwarya, anaishwarya, ajnana. In 7 forms, it actually binds. But there is one form, jnana, it releases. So the jnana, that is buddhi, and that is antahkarana, and that buddhi, that jnana is the only way to us, is only means to us to get the realization of Brahma. So the buddhi should be proper. Our intelligence, our knowing faculty, our intellect should be proper. What is that propriety of intellect? Means, though we are endowed with the faculty of knowing everything, we should not waste this particular faculty by knowing unnecessary things, by occupying ourselves with several unnecessary things. If we do so, our intellect gets contaminated, because instead of getting onto the Brahma or the cosmic reality, it understands as if everything is taken for granted, and it leads a very simple, limited material life. It all depends on our intellect. So therefore, intellect, our intelligence is the source to realization. So that intelligence is the Guha, and the Brahman is hidden there. So thus it is very proper. Tad vrittisthaniyetu iha punaha tad sruštva tadu tadevanupravishat ityuchyate. So now only to expound all this idea, the Shruti says that the Brahman has entered into its effect after creating it. So this entering is being present in the intellect so that a person can get realization. So this is the idea. Tadeva idam akashadikaranam karyam sruštva tad anupravishtam iva antarguhayam buddhau drashtru shrotru mantru vijnatru ityevam visheshavad upalabhyate. So the Brahman, after creating all this body, intellect, everything, it appears as if it has entered. Then it gets all the names like seer, enjoyer, experiencer. These are only names given to that. It is one Brahma, but it is given Manta, Vijnata, Karta, Bhokta, Jnata. But after all, Atma is not that. Atma is pure energy. That is Brahma. So everything else is only an attribute given to that. Sayeva tasya praveshaha. So this is the idea behind the scriptural sentence, that is anupravishat. So what is this anupravesha? It is not physically entering into its cause, but being present in the intellect and getting the attributes like Jnata, Bhokta, Shrota, Manta, Vijnata. These are all attributed to the soul. And Tasmat Asti Tat Karanam Brahma. So therefore, there is a cause of all this, that is the Brahman. Ataha Astitvad Astityeva Upalabdhavyam Tat. So that being there, the Brahman being there, we should make all effort to realize that as existent. Astityeva Tat Karyam Anupravishya Kim. Having entered into that particular effect, what did the Brahman do? It became Pacha. After entering into its effect, the Brahman has become what? It has become Satcha Tyacha Abhavat. Sat means all the Prithvi, Apaha, Tejaha. These are Sat, Murtam. Tyacha, Vayu, Akasha, Amurtam. So it has become both tangible, intangible. Murta murtehi avyakrita nama rupe atmasthe antargatena atmana vyakyate vyakrite murta murta shabda vachye. So this manifestation, so Murta and Amurta both are in the Brahman, Atma only, but they are only manifested. And then only they get the name Murta, Amurta. Atmana tu Apravibhakta desha kale iti kritva Atmate abhavaditi chate. Then Satchatyecha abhavat. The Shruti, the Upanishad, what sentence is abhavat. That means the soul has become the tangible and intangible. Then we should understand this becoming what? Then Shankaracharya says nothing. They are already there. Apravibhakta. They are actually not distinct from the soul. They are only manifested. Kincha, and further, the same soul has become Niruktancha, Aniruktamcha. Niruktam means actually Nishkrishya Samana Asamana Jatiyebhyaha Deshakala Visishtataya Idam Tat Iti Uktam. This is Nirukta. Nirukta means Nir-Ukta. That means, see, from the clay, you have made a pot and you have given a name to that. What happened now? From the clay only something is made it occupies some space and it has got a name. Similarly, the entire universe, the matter appears from the energy, gets a name, remains for some time, and gets dissolved into its cause. And this appearance for some time is known as niruktam, because it is nishkrushya uktam. So belonging to particular space, particular place, particular time, particular property. So all these limitations come to the matter, and this is nirukta. Aniruktam tad viparitam. Aniruktam, what is anirukta? Not having all these limitations is anirukta. So a small seed is there, that may be a mango tree seed, or you can say some fruit seed is there. All the trees, all the forest may be there in dormant nature, in the seed only. That is potential energy in the seed. But you don't see that. That is anirukta. And once from the seed, the sprout comes out, then you say it is nirukta. So anirukta, nirukta. Getting manifested, not manifested. So these two are murta murtayoreva visheshane. These two are, of course, the adjectives of tangible, intangible matter. Yatha satchatyacha pratyaksha parokshe tadha nilayanancha nilayanancha. So just as the sat tyat, they are actually pratyaksha paroksha. This is what Shankaracharya has explained. And nilayanam, anilayanam, they are similar. Nilayanam means having a substratum. That means being present in a particular base. For example, the pot is nilayanam because it is found in the clay. Anilayanam, something is there which cannot be stated as having a base. Anilayanam. And all nilayanam is possible only when it is manifested. And in the unmanifested state, there is no nilayanam, there is no base. But Brahman is the base then. Anilayanam tad viparitam amurtasyeva dharmaha. So anilayanam is nothing but the characteristic of intangible matter. Tyat, anirukta, anilayana, anya murta dharmatvepi vyakrita vishayanyeva. So all these, whatever is stated as tyat, anirukta, anilayana, these are all actually the characteristics of amurta padartha, intangible matter, but vyakrita vishayanyeva, but they are related to the vyakrita. That means the manifested one, because vyakarana, namarupe vyakaranavani, it is common to all satcha, tyacha, niruktam, aniruktam, nilayanam, anilayanam, everywhere. Vyakaranam is common. That means Brahman has contemplated on expressing itself through this matter. Then this manifestation is Vyakarana. Within that you find the one is Murta, Amurta, Pratyaksha, Paroksha, everything. Sargottara Kala, Bhava, Shravanat. Because all these is stated to be present even after Sarga Uttara Kala, after the creation. Tyat iti pranadi aniruktam tadeva anilayanancha. So the tyat, the sarvanama, the pronoun says pranadi aniruktam. This is actually nothing but the pranadi, and it is anilayanam also. So the tyat refers to some indirect entity like the prana, which is not directly perceived but which is present verily. Ataha visheshanani amurtasya vyakrita vishayanyeva etani. So therefore all these are the adjectives of the amurta, unmanifested one, still vyakrita vishayanyeva, but referring to the vyakrita. Vijnanam, and the original statement in the Upanishad says Vijnanam cha, Avijnanam cha. What is Vijnanam? Chetanam. It is consciousness. Avijnanam, Achetanam, that is the inert matter. Satyam cha, that means whatever is the matter of our convention is Satyam, Vyavahara Vishayam. Adhikara na Paramartha Satyam. But here, if you take this Satyam as ultimate truth, then there will be problem. Satyam means it is Vyavaharika Satya or conventional empirical reality. Ekamevi Paramartha Satyam Brahma. Because in our Advaita, the ultimate absolute reality is only the Brahman. Iha punar Vyavahara Vishayam Apekshikam Satyam. So therefore, the word Satya in this particular context should be understood in the sense of empirical reality, not absolute reality. Mragatrishnikadi Anrutapekshaya Udakadi Satya Uchate. See, yes, in relation with something, with regards to some other thing, something is stated as real, like with regard to the mirage, water in the mirage, the real water is stated to be real, but this is not real absolutely, because it is a product, and all products are unreal. Mithya, that is what Shankaracharya's Advaita says. So therefore, it is only a relative term that the water is stated to be real in relation with the unreal mirage water. Anritancha tad viparitam. And what is Anrita? It is different from the conventional reality. Kim punaha etat sarvam abhavat, that Brahma has become all this. Satyam Paramartha Satyam. Kim punastat? Then what is the absolute reality? Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahmedi Prakritatvat. Because in this particular Taittiriya Upanishad context, the Brahman is the subject matter. It is the absolute reality. Because all these passages are talking about the Brahman. So therefore, Satyam, that means absolute reality, is the Brahman. Yasmat Satya, Yasmat Sat Tyat Ityadikam Murta Murta Dharmajatam Yatkinchaidam Sarvam Avisishtam Vikarajatam Ekameva Satchabdavacham Brahma Bhavat Tad Vyakrekena Abhavat Namarupa Vikarasya Tasmat Tad Brahma Satyam Ityachakshate Brahma Vidaha. So Shankaracharya gives us a beautiful vision in this particular passage. He says, see, why the Brahman is stated as Sat. Om Tat Sat iti Brahmanaha Nirdeshas Trividha Smritaha. Why the Brahman is stated as Sat? Because, see here, Yasmat Sat Tyat Murta Amurta Yatkincha Idam Sarvam Avisishtam Vikarajatam Ekameva. Because all this, whether it is tangible, untangible, manifest, unmanifested, in whatever form it may be, but all this is called as Satya. Because Satchabdavacham Brahma Abhavat, that Brahma itself has become this. Therefore, it is also not different from the Brahman. Avyatirekena Abhavat. Tad Vyatirekena. Brahma Vyatirekena. That means, apart from the Brahman, there is no entity at all. Nothing. And whatever you see it as being the seat of Brahman. That's all. That is the Advaita. That is pure Advaita that Sadashivendra Saraswati had practiced, Ramana Maharshi had shown, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has demonstrated. So all these great souls of India had demonstrated in their life that the entire world of experience is nothing but Brahman, in whatever form it may be. Tasmat Tat Brahma Satyam. So therefore, all the knowers of Brahman, they say that there is some Brahma. Word may be different. Some may call it as Narayana, some may call it as Vasudeva, some may call it as Paramashiva, some may call it as Govinda, Sri Krishna, whatever may be the name, or Bhagavan, Ashreya, Paramatma, Paratattvam, Perumal, whatever may be the name. But ultimately, it is. It is. It is not something we have mentally created. It's not some postulation. Brahman is the cosmic reality. And Shankaracharya says, that's why all the Brahmavetta, like his own teacher, Govinda Bhagavat Pada, his teacher, Gaudapada, his further teachers like Shuka Brahma, Vasishta Maharshi, Vyasa Maharshi, Parashara Maharshi, all these had simply stated Brahma Satyam. Actually, in all the Vedanta schools, Brahma is Satyam. Whether it is Dvaita, Visishtadvaita, Shuddhadvaita, Achintya Bheda Bheda, any Vedanta school, Kevaladvaita, all these schools strongly hold to the Brahman, saying that it is the reality. But they actually argue with each other. They differ from each other in some theories like whether the Brahman is Saguna or Nirguna, Savishesha or Nirvishesha, whether Jnana is mixed with Karma or separate, whether Jnana gives moksha or Bhakti or any other thing gives moksha. So in these matters only they have their differences. Otherwise, all the Vedanta schools, they strongly support and advocate the theory of Brahma. Asti nasti iti anuprashnah prakritah tasya prativachana vishayah etat uktam atma akamayata bahusyam iti. So in this context, asti nasti, that means whether it is there or not, for this question the reply is given that Atma had contemplated, then it had become everything. So therefore you don't question about the existence of that Atma or Brahma. Sa yatha kamam cha akashadi karyam satyadadi lakshanam srishtva tad anupravishya. Then that Atma contemplated on creating something. Then it had created Sat, Tyat, tangible, intangible, manifested, unmanifested, all this, and then entered into that Pashyan, Shrunvan, Manvano, Vijanan, Brahma Bahu Abhavat. Then what it had contemplated, the Atma contemplated to become many. Yes, after creating, it has become many. Because it has entered into everything, into its heart in the form of the Atma. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, Atma cha Brahma. Because it has entered in the form of the Atma, and then it started seeing the world, enjoying the world, thinking, experiencing the world, all this. In this form, the one single reality has become many. Tasmadeva idam akashadi karanam karyastham parame vyoman hridaya guhayam nihitam tat pratyaya avabhasa visheshena upalabhyamanam asti. So in this manner, this parame vyoman, hridaya guha, this parame vyoman is nothing but the seat of all intellect, that is hridaya. In this particular hridayam, all this energy is rooted. Tat pratyaya avabhasa visheshena. And this Brahman actually makes us get all the cognitions. In this manner, upalabhyamanam asti ityevam vijaniyat. So in this manner, the Brahman is seated in our heart, and that makes us know, understand, see, hear, touch, feel, experience everything. So that Brahman is the reality. Tadetasminarthe brahmanokta yesha shloko mantro bhavati. And after this, there is the Brahmana shloka in the same sense. Yatha purveshu annamayadi atma prakashakaha panchaswapi evam sarvantaram atma asti prakashakopi mantraha karyadvarena bhavati. Tat atma astitva prakashaka mantraha. So previously also Annamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all these. So there a Brahmana shloka was quoted towards the end of the passage and said, Asmin Esha Shloko Abhigito Bhavati. So this traditional shloka is remembered in this particular context. So they said, similarly, here also traditional mantra is recited. So this way, mantraha karyadvarena bhavati. So this is actually to illuminate the sense that there is a mantra given, and this is Saptama Anuvaka. So this will be the matter of the 7th Anuvaka we will see in the next class. So today we have completed the 6th Anuvaka along with the Shankara Bhashya, and in the next class we will be discussing the Shankara Bhashya and trying to understand the 7th Anuvaka. Namo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.